Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. As usual, back again to let you know the latest. And right now, there seems to be some concern regarding our ever reliable Stanley Nwabali, the goalkeeper who came into the picture and stole our hearts, impressed us very well, and ever since then has been the rock solid man between the sticks for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But the recent development right now regarding Stanley Nwabali is of concern for head coach Eric Shell, especially after the last game over the weekend involving Stanley Nwabali's club and a certain TS Galaxy Football Club in the PSL South African League. That game came out disappointingly for Stanley Nwabali as his blunder, which he committed in the 80th minute, was the reason why his team lost. And as you can see from the clip on the screen, Stanley Nwabali caught the ball in the 80th minute, tried to make a forward pass, a forward throw with his hand to progress, to help his team progress through the counter, but mistakenly threw it into the path of the opposing team, and then ended up being lobbed from outside the 18-yard box. And then that was how they considered the goal. At the end of the day, after that game, he came out with apologies and everything. And then the coach came out to say something very important. He said that Stanley Nwabali told him before the game that he wasn't ready, that he doesn't feel like he is, in the right mental space to make appearance for this game, that the coach should rest him for the game. This was what the Coach Tabo of Chippa United, came out to say. So, but the coach said that he ignored Stanley Nwabali's excuse. And for him, Stanley is obviously his best goalkeeper. He has been his first choice ever since. So, and for such a match as important as that game, he didn't want to risk not playing Stanley Nwabali. So at the end of the day, he decided to play Stanley Nwabali. And then that mistake happened. So the coach is coming out to say that he takes all the blame for that defeat, because if he had listened to Stanley Nwabali, it probably wouldn't have happened. That is what the coach said. Of course, this is definitely something of concern for Coach Eric Shell, because he's the man that we depend on going into these games in March. And more so right now, because we don't even have a second choice, or we are not sure of who our second choice is going to be, because if you follow the previous video that I put out here on this channel, the coach is currently looking for a deputy, someone to deputize on Stanley Nwabali, because Okoye seems to have been compromised because of one or two things going on around him, betting issue that hasn't been cleared out, just came back from injury, not informed right now. So coach has been looking at someone to come in to replace Okoye, and now Stanley Nwabali is showing some mental distraction or some mental unreadiness, ahead of these games. But I feel like the only, luck or positive that we have right now is that we still have a little bit of time before we start to play this game. Of course, it's going to be in March, towards the end of March. So definitely, we have a few weeks until this game. So maybe Stanley Nwabali will recover fully emotionally to be ready to play these games. But if he doesn't recover and doesn't feel like playing, of course, he also can do us a favor to communicate that to the coach, so that whoever is deputizing on him can make that appearance, because I think it's far better than risking someone who, really, who intentionally doesn't feel like playing, and then you're forcing him to play. That's the worst thing that could happen. But moving away from that, guys, it seems like the under 17 Golden Eaglet has now been snubbed by CAF, and then Gambia picked for the under 17 African Cup of Nations coming up later this month. Not this month, later this year. If you follow the channel, last year, I covered a few of their qualifiers. We actually didn't do very well in the group. In the Wafu B group, we came out as best losers, I think in third position or so. And also Gambia came out as best losers. So CAF decided to pick one of the two best losers to progress, with them. And unfortunately, we are out based on what's coming out right now. And this is very terrible for not just the team, for Manu Garba, who's the coach, but also for NFF, who will now have to deal with the fact that the under 17 will not, play in the World Cup that is also coming up later, because it's only the clubs that qualify for the African Cup of Nations that have the chance to fight for tickets to qualify for the World Cup under 17 category. And then moving forward, guys, Coach Eric Shaw has been, won by a certain veteran of the Super Eagles, actually a chief for that matter, of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. He was once a coach for the team, actually coached us in the 1980s, took us to the 1984 finals, where I think we lost that one to, was it Tunisia or Algeria, one of those countries. But this man has been talking about the fact that it's going to be unacceptable if Coach Eric Shell is unable to get us victory in this game coming up against Rwanda and then Zimbabwe. So Chief Adiboye Onigbinde has warned Coach Eric Shell that he doesn't want any excuse or any excuses for failing to beat Rwanda and Zimbabwe next month, because the team has all the quality that it takes. He's a top coach that knows his way around, getting a team together and having them, get results in these kinds of situations. So there should not be any kind of stories that touch the hearts, for these games coming up. This is what this veteran former Super Eagles head coach has said. So this is what's currently happening right now. Of course, we know this is an added pressure to Coach Eric Shell to get results. Not that he doesn't already have too many pressures, but all of these ex-international are coming in to weigh in their own opinions. Definitely adds some more pressure to the coach. But definitely it's what it is. He knows how to handle pressures, and he said it himself. So it's not surprising to him. He will definitely try to go out there and get the results. But we'll see what happens, especially as we await the list coming up later, in a couple of weeks from now. But let's leave that gist and let me give you some good news right now. Semi Ajayi has now returned back to playing proper football after being on the sideline for injury. He actually had that injury, I think, back in October of last year, which is a long time ago. But he's now returned back and even made an appearance for the West Bromwich Albion under 21 team, and he played really well. Played for I think 45 minutes of the game, and then had some really good impact. And after the game, his coach came out to say some really encouraging word about his performance. Just a little bit of positive word from the coach after the game. Of course, whenever you have an injury as a player, then when you come back, you're going to start to fight for a shirt all over again, because the guys that used to be on the bench, you come back and meet them, playing 90 minutes, and maybe they are in form, and you now have to start to try to win over, your shirt all over again. This is the same case for Semi Ajayi, but he's a top player, and we trust him to get back his shirt, and of course, maybe get a call up for the Super Eagles. Maybe even if not next month, but for future games, with the Super Eagles.